I'll be honest with y'all, cities like Podgorica make me wonder if I should have just made all the travel vlogs 15 minutes long. But then I remember you have huge cities like Tokyo, Seoul, Rio, and I think I'm gonna need that 30-minute time to really cover the capital. But Podgorica is pretty small. I've been told by my host, he's like, listen, I saw everything on the tour. Not everything, but now I'm just hanging out. I had myself a nice little meal, nice ambiance, but it's a small city. Do I feel comfortable? For the most part, yes. I think I'm the only one here right now. Population 1. But I do feel comfortable enough as a solo female and so like I do feel safe. People are walking around chilling. I think at the end of the day you're always gonna get stares or, you know, some guy honked at me earlier. So I think you're always gonna have that. But overall I do feel safe, really comfortable. Our tour guide was really cool. I'd say like card friendly, but still have cash on you because I just realized I'm gonna need to use a taxi. And they, like you said, make sure it's a metered taxi, but I need cash for that. Why are you hanging off the balcony to stare in my face? Y'all, anyway, shawty during the tour was about to get on my nerves because I started doing my little fake story thing. Y'all saw what happened in London and that you can't tell people you're too successful, even though success is measured on your own merit, because then they start to get funny. So I told this lady on the tour, I was like, I'm from the US, but I study in Amsterdam. They already formed their little judgments. It's like saying, hey, no, I got a little piece of Europe in me, okay? I know a little something. So I think they were doing it with everybody because they were just being a little nosy. But she had come over and she was like, so you study? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, what are you studying? I was like, general studies. That's what I was studying in college before I dropped out. It was general studies with a psychology specialization. I was like, oh yeah, general studies or whatever. She's like, oh, in Amsterdam, yeah. I was like, yeah. She was like, you know. So first she had asked me, I forgot the order, but these questions were asked. She was like, oh, okay, so like it's September, so like, you know, you're here, October, like why aren't you in school? I was like, oh, I study online. She's like, oh, online classes. I was like, yeah. She's like, what do you think about the student crisis right now? I was like, the what? She's like, the student crisis. I was like, the huh? She was like, there's a student crisis with I might go to the market real quick. She was like, there's a student crisis with housing. I was like, oh, I live with my grandma. You asking a lot. She was like, oh, so you speak Dutch? I was like, no, my school's in English. Are you done? Okay, I'm back at where we started. But yeah, so she was like, oh, so you speak the language? I was like, no, I understand a lot of it, but I don't speak it. Like any other questions, ma'am, and I started asking her questions because don't answer too much. If people asking you too many questions, ask questions back and make up fake answers. I was like, it's Sunday. Why are you so pressed? Who's to say I ain't just catch a flight for the weekend with my online school and came out here? So yeah, but I don't think it was that serious. I think it was harmless. I think she was nosy because then they was going around everybody in the group. They're like, where are you from? What'd you say? Alright, so I asked for carrots, but I got peas. But he was so friendly, I don't even care. I know I'm trying to fly down a taxi though. I need a taxi. She need to ride home. Oh, so the supermarkets are closed, but I got enough water till tomorrow. It's been so long since I hailed a taxi. Yeah, I'm so proud I got actual food, but now I can't get a taxi. Ooh.
Boy, što? A što je da ti rodi zdravu djecu? Mene je samo bitno zdravo dijete, mene ništa drugo.
Ew, I just had the grossest taxi experience, y'all. It wasn't hateful, it was just harmful. So I was literally looking up how to call a taxi in Montenegro. I was like, you know what? I think I need to physically call one because nobody's stopping her. Everybody has somebody in their car already at a cab. And so I looked it up and they're like, oh, red taxi is the, somebody said on like random article, they're like, red taxi's the best, right? Tell me why a red taxi pulled up in front of me, right where I was at, around the clock tower. And I was so excited because nobody was in it, right? Y'all, so anyways, nobody was in it, so I'm getting excited. I'm like, oh, finally we could go home. My chicken getting cold, right? I get in, he on FaceTime. He like, yeah, come in. I'm like, how much? The meter is in the mirror, which was pretty cool. But I'm like, how much? It was €2 on the meter. He said 3. I ain't even gonna argue because like I was just trying to get out of there. Anyways, he's on FaceTime with like people, and he's purposely keeping me in the FaceTime screen. So I'm like ducking out the way, and they're like looking like, oh. So I'm moving out the way. So I actually slid to behind the driver's side so I could be away from his little FaceTime. And then he says in English, everything is in a different language, and he goes, black woman. Like, whoa, ooh. I was like, I don't give a fuck if you're fascinated. You just don't do that. Like, what? Hold on, 1 second.